Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Facebook, YouTube Live pregame show. I am your host, Stephen D. I'm really excited to be here. We got a special show lined up for you today. But as always, how we always like to start off the show, we always like to start off the show with a little Solo D. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to get Solo in here and his Week 17 song. Solo is under the weather. So, obviously make sure you guys bear with him a little bit. So this is the Week 17 song. It's a flashback that he put up. So I'm really excited to be able to premiere that for you. He did all this morning. Solo is definitely under the weather. He's not doing good, but our thoughts and our prayers are with him. He'll be all right. He'll pull through this, and he keeps the streak alive. So for 10 years. So here we go with some Solo D.
Yo, what's up, DWA Miami Sports Music Squad? Solo D checking in. Listen, if you've been following me for any amount of years, you know I do not miss weeks of dropping music. I've been feeling a little under the weather for the past few days. I've been fighting, still trying to get a song recorded. I'm even in the studio right now trying to record, but man, it's almost 10 o'clock. It's game day, so I'm going to throw in the towel on this one because I don't have the energy to actually get this done. But we still not gonna let a week go by without a release. So we're gonna do a throwback on this one. And I'm gonna go back to 2013, man, before I even had the dreads. Everybody Hates the Bills. That was actually requested on Instagram. Shout out to whoever that was. I'm sorry I ain't see your name, but you definitely gave me the idea to repost this. So let's vibe to that because we still hate the Bills. We still gonna beat them and we still gonna cook them. And guess what? The season ain't over because we're gonna beat them today. And I'll be back with the playoff song this week. All right? DWA, fans up. Let's go.
Everybody I know say they hate the Bills. Them been around the world, everybody hate the Bills. Bills. Everywhere I go, man, they say they hate the Bills. Everybody I know say they hate the Bills. And been around the world, and everybody hate the. They hate the. Everybody I know hate the Bills. So the Dolphins, weekly I'ma hold them down. Put the Solo D stamp so they know my sound. Fins up every day, ain't coming down. Forget the mainstream, we gon' keep it underground. But your hands, I'm gon' get them up. Them Bills, we gon' split them up. That defense, no, you feel us lunch, we grill them up. That we get this when they will respect it. We coming for them hard, we should be the bill collector. Knock, at your door, ring, on the phone. Send a mail to your home, we don't never leave you alone. It don't matter the division, it don't matter where you live. And they've been around the world and everybody say they hate the Bills. We've been around the world, everybody hate the Bills. Everywhere I go, man, they say they hate the Bills. They hate to see them coming, man, they say they hate the Bills. Everywhere I go, man, they say they hate the Bills. Sophisticated, integrated, making bigger statements. I rep my team in different places, music syndicated. MIA, that Dolphin Music Entertainment. Quick to demonstrate it, drop these songs till they begin to hate it. When it's Buffalo, usually we dinner plate them. We sick of eating, now we climbing their administration. Nobody likes the bills when you gotta pay that cheddar. So we gon' send these damn bills through the paper shredder. Knock, at your door, ring, on the phone. Sending mail to your home, we don't never leave you alone. It don't matter the division, it don't matter where you living. I've been around the world and everybody say they hate the Bills. We've been around the world, everybody hate the Bills. Everywhere I go, man, they say they hate the Bills. They hate to see them coming, man, they say they hate the Bills. Everywhere I go, man, they say they hate the Bills.
everybody. Hates the Bills. That's right. This is the Miami Sports Music Facebook, YouTube Live pregame show. I am your host, Stephen D. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. I have some amazing guests. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that today's show is brought to you by Dirty Sportswear. If you guys need any printing apparel needs done, you got to contact the team at Dirty Sportswear, an amazing group of guys. As a matter of fact, the owner, the founder of that wonderful, amazing team is on here today, and we're going to talk to him here in a little bit. But as you guys saw the Week 17 YouTube video that Solo just dropped on Miami Sports Music. For those of you who don't know, Solo is under the weather. Solo got tested for COVID. He's pretty sure he has it. He's been out of commission for a couple of days. So, first of all, he wanted to be here, but he is resting all the way up till game time. And he's been in bed for like 2 or 3 days. So we hope that he gets better. And we know that everybody's thinking of you, brother, and we love you and we miss you. And as always, man, even when you're down, you always seem to find a way to put up a video. So we love that. All right. Well, let me introduce you to the group that we have today. We have an amazing cast on this roundtable today for the pregame show. The first person I'm going to bring in is this gentleman here. This gentleman is Matt Thin Evil. What's up, brother? How's it going?
Oh, man, I'm so nervous about today's game, but also very excited at the same time, man. Just can't wait to get this thing going.
Matt is from the Positive Porpoise. He also has his own fan club up there in Ohio. And, I'm glad that you're up here, brother, man. Thank you for coming on today. I
appreciate you having me, Stephen.
No problem. Next, as I told you, the Dirty Sportswear guy himself, Mr. Cameron Scott from East 32 Dolphins Tailgates. What's up, brother? I'm wearing your shirt, man.
What's up, represent? Good morning, everybody. Great to be here, man. As Matt said, a little nervous as well. In fact, I cleared out the house, told the wife and daughter to get loose, and so I can focus on the game today. And,
I love it.
Shout out to Solo D, man. Rest up, brother.
All right. Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for being on, man. This is going to be great. And last but certainly not least, one of my very close friends, and we got some big news to also share with this guy coming on, Mr. Jamie Bahamas. What's up, Jamie?
What's up, man? How you feeling today? Excited? I know you didn't sleep last night.
I'm doing really good, Jamie. I'm so glad that you're able to be up here today. Jamie was having some technical difficulties, but as always, the man always finds a way to get it cracked up and get it going. And he's on here with no problems at all as we get going here on the Facebook, YouTube Live pregame show. Before we get started, I do have some amazing news to share with you. Jamie has been working alongside us doing stuff for 305sports.net for a while now. And last week he came onto the show and was just such a wonderful guest. And so what I want to do is just make an announcement that, we've been able to sit down, Solo, you, also some of the team at 305 Sports. But the first thing I want to do is I want to announce that Jamie Bahamas is our new media director here at Miami Sports Music. So I want to welcome you to the family, brother. Thank you, man. I'm excited that you're here and that you're part of the family. And, I really can't wait for you to, be part of the team and get everything going.
Yeah, I'm excited too, man. 2021, big things, right? We're about to blow away everything from 2020. Really excited for this opportunity to join the family of Miami Sports Music. It's good to work in an area where you're passionate about. The big thing with this is, as we've been talking, we have a lot of exciting changes when we start to roll in through this year. One thing I want to give a little teaser out there to everybody listening today is, with me coming on as media director, one thing you're going to see is an amazing collaboration between 305 Sports and Miami Sports Music. So look for some great things branching into the media aspects of Miami Sports Music. So I'm really excited about the things we're going to be doing this year, Stephen.
Yeah, man, it's going to be really, really, really good. I'm really excited that you're on the team. But, man, let's go ahead and let's talk about this game that everybody seems to be nervous for today. Obviously, the Miami Dolphins are taking on the Buffalo Bills in Orchard Park, New York. So I guess the first thing I want to do is I'll bring in the man that is all about the tailgates himself, Cameron. Cameron, there's no fans today at the game. Tell us, what are your thoughts about playing in front of an empty stadium in Week 17? And will that be an advantage for the Dolphins, besides playing in 33-degree weather?
I think it's a great question. And throughout the season, I think the players have gotten, kind of accustomed to playing without fans or a limited amount of fans. So, it really makes every, stadium a little bit more neutral in my eyes. And, the players are professionals. They know how to play, this game. And I think removing the fans just makes it an even more matchup, a more even matchup.
Definitely. I totally agree about that. And Matt, I know that you always follow what's going on in the field of the NFL. How do you see this playing out today? Do the Bills play all their starters for the entire 4 quarters, or is this something that maybe we can see them rest and go to some of the backups? And what is it going to be like for Miami playing in that 33-degree weather today?
Well, first off, I've been scrolling Twitter nonstop all morning for any late breaking news regarding the Bills and their decisions. They've kept it pretty quiet all week on what their plan is internally. I'm hearing the Bills are playing to win, but not at all cost, meaning we may see a lot of their starters out, including Josh Allen. But if something happens and there's an injury or something, we might see him again. There's just so much diluted news out there right now because the Bills are being so secretive about their plans. As far as the Dolphins going into Orchard Park, 33 degrees, a lot of people worried about Tua. He's been primarily a warm climate type of quarterback, but the weather up there looks like it's pretty neutral right now. There's no snow on the ground or anything like that. Doesn't look like the ball is going to be wet. So I see no reason why the Dolphins can't go in there and run a normal game plan and do the things they got to do to win this game. Because like we were saying earlier, I'm nervous because for the first time in a long time, we're actually playing a Week 17 game that matters. So that's where I'm sitting right now.
Totally. And as always, I want to bring in the man who covers the team for 305sports.net and our new media director. And the reason I want to bring you in over here, Jamie, is because we have the inactives list that just came out. So the inactives list has quarterback Jake Rudock, Jakeem Grant, DeAndre Washington, Kruger Hill, the linebacker, Adam Pankey, Kirk Merritt, and Benito Jones, all on the inactive list for today's game. Jamie, tell us about what you see on this list and how it'll play effect into today's game going into Orchard Park.
All right, we'll keep them with the trend that I always look at, right? The inactives list is here. And yes, there's some big names on there, but it's good news once again because it's the names that are not on that list. One big one, Devante Parker, not on that list, right? Yeah. Going into this final game, you're going to need some targets because what I feel the game plan is going to be for Buffalo coming into this game is, yes, they're going to play their starters and they want to win, but they don't want to sit there and go and gruel through this game. They want to get those guys out and get them off the field as quickly as they can. So they're going to look to try to jump on Miami and see if this Miami offense can keep up with them or can hang with them and try to make sure Miami doesn't get ahead. So having Gesicki and Parker as 2 big targets on that field, that's going to bode well today for the offense. Plus, if you notice, none of the running backs, Washington is a healthy scratch, but none of the starting running backs are sitting on that list. Another big key, if you look back, Josh Allen has feasted on the Miami Dolphins. He's had 14 touchdowns in the last 5 games against the Miami Dolphins. That's by far the best performance he's had against any team within the league. Well, good news is Miami's front, Kyle Van Noy, we know Roberts is out, but we have Ogba. We have those guys coming that are going to be applying pressure. Look for those guys to try to keep Allen under control to keep that Bills offense in check today. So the inactives list, yes, some names we'd like to see, but for the most part, the guys that the Dolphins need are going to be out there today to do what they have to do.
Well, there's a lot of good things that I see on this list, and one of the things that kind of scares me a little bit, and this is just full honesty, is Jake Rudolph, right? So the Miami Dolphins have Tua Tagovailoa starting today, and that was the announcement that was made after the Raiders game, right? So I wasn't too worried about that. And then obviously the news of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I guess Ryan and Solo might have been hanging out with I don't want to put that out there in the universe. I don't want to get Solo in trouble
I'm already breaking that story, by the way.
I'm just playing. But Ryan tested positive for COVID, and so that allowed Jake Rudolph to come off of the practice squad. So, I know we have Reed Sennett too. So I was under the impression as of yesterday that Reed Sennett and Jake Rudolph would be active in the backups. So does that mean today, Jamie, that Reed Sennett is the backup for Tua?
Yep, and we hope that we don't see the backup.
Yes, I totally agree about that. I think Cameron and Matt would also agree about that. Cameron, tell me, man, what was your thoughts when you initially saw Ryan Fitzpatrick go out with COVID? As a fan, what was your initial reaction?
Holy bleep, my initial reaction. And, we've become accustomed to having Fitzmagic as this safety net, and I think Coach Flo has done a great job of managing, the time for the both and, inserting Ryan when it's needed, when Tua has been struggling those couple times. And so I think the impact is going to be tremendous on Tua's mentality in a positive way. He knows he's the man. He knows he's got to get the job done. He realizes, the task at hand and his responsibility. And the reason I'm so confident in him is because of his track record through high school and at Alabama, coming in and really winning the big games, performing under pressure. I think, our chances look real good with Tua today.
Yeah, I totally agree. Here's some real factors for you, though. Tua Tagovailoa has not played above the Mason-Dixon line. He never did in college, and this is new territory for him playing in this cold weather. As a matter of fact, I don't think he's ever played in the snow, period. Now, when I was looking at the pregame today on NFL Network, there looked like there was no snow on the ground. But Matt, you, of all the people that are on this list, understand cold weather. So tell me, Matt, what is Tua's reaction going to be to playing in this type of weather today, and as well as for the Dolphins in general playing in Buffalo, which we know they have a history of always struggling?
Well, like we said before, he's been primarily a warm climate guy. And there's really no way to simulate practicing in the cold weather when you're in South Florida. I mean, there's not enough AC units in the South to simulate that. So definitely going to be an adjustment for Tua. Definitely going to have to make some adjustments. The one thing I don't like to talk about stuff like this, but it did come up yesterday, was his hand size. That is immeasurable at the combine. They talk about hand size. Mm-hmm. And Tua's hands measured whatever it was, 10 inches or whatever, which was actually, you don't think like that's a big deal until you start playing in cold weather and the ability to grip the football. That came up last night on a conversation I heard, and who knows how much that plays into effect. But you've heard guys like the Drew Breeses of the world that have smaller hands have struggled throwing in the cold weather in the past. So we'll see how it develops this time with Tua in the cold weather, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, honestly, especially when you got Parker back, a big target. We have Gesicki. We got some targets he can throw to. So I think the game plan stays the same.
Speaking of Gesicki, Jamie, I want to go back to you quickly before I do a reset. Tell me about it. How big of a factor is he going to be as a safety net for Tua Tagovailoa today? Because Gesicki, the last time out, had a big game against the Buffalo Bills. So how is he going to be a safety net for Tua in today's game?
Man, it's gonna be huge. I was doing a breakdown of the Vegas game, right? And we all know how that played out, and everybody sees the big highlights and the how that went. But some things that go unnoticed. When I do a breakdown of a game, I look at where the ball didn't go, because that's what helps the ball to get where it went. When you get a chance, go back and look at the miracle play where Fitzmagic threw that ball, with blindfolded, and look at Gesicki line up on that play. Look at his form and look at him attack. Basically, if you look, Fitz was looking that way the entire time, and Gesicki had the hardest running form and pressed. What that did was that pulled the safety from the top of the field, it pulled it down to the right, and that allowed, when the ball went over to the left, to the corner, to the sideline, the safety couldn't come over and help quick enough. And that's the threat that Gesicki, even if the ball is not coming to him, allows. So he has a wide catch radius when you are going to throw the ball to him, so it's easy to get the ball out quick and high. But also, because the way he attacks the field, even when the ball is not coming his direction, it allows him to control the defense. So Tua should have enough time, and that should allow the offensive line to have a little bit of help today with Gesicki being back. So it's huge of the fact that he's just even on the field today for the Dolphins.
Well, this is the Miami Sports Music Facebook, YouTube live pregame show. We are really excited to be here today. As always, what we like to do is the score prediction. And the score prediction, we want you to go to the YouTube page, the YouTube comment page. And what you're going to do in the YouTube comment page is put your score prediction for today's game. And the winner that gets closest to the prediction will win a DWA TPP prize back, courtesy of the Positive Porpoise in Miami Sports Music. Also, I do want to talk briefly about our sponsor today. Today's show is brought to you by DirtySportswear.com. If you guys need any sort of printing needs, apparel needs, you got to go see my man that's at the bottom left of the screen there. Cameron, tell us a little bit about Dirty Sportswear, how it got started, and what you do, man.
So Dirty Sportswear is a company that was started over 10 years ago now, just going on 11, in a friend's garage. It's my friend Robert Hendren's business, and we just started printing shirts for our local softball team. And it morphed into, this huge business through word of mouth. We do full sub uniforms, baseball, softball, volleyball. We just launched a new line of golf wear that we're actually going to be showcasing this upcoming weekend up in St. Petersburg at an event. And so you just contact us for any of your needs. We do a ton of kids' youth uniforms. And a lot of lifestyle options as well. We do, since this pandemic came along, we've actually morphed into one of the largest Nike and Gator producers in South Florida, and we ship worldwide. We also have a warehouse in Seattle, outside of Seattle, so Dirty Sportswear Pacific Northwest. And so we really have the country covered. A couple salespeople in Houston, Ohio, and in Atlanta. And it's really a fun business.
Well, I'm showing all the stuff here from the screen on your website, and you just have options galore. There's everything here. There's shorts, there's face masks, there's sunglasses, there's pants, there's uniforms, there's fishing apparel, there's winter gear. I mean, if you need it, Dirty Sports has it, and it looks like some really good stuff, man. And I try to I want to keep this as pure as I can without people paying for sponsorships or anything like that. But Dirty Sportswear has always been good to Dolphins fans in East 32, right? And number two, you guys just always put on a great product. And anybody I've ever talked to that's done business with you guys, I've never heard a bad word. And I'm being, I'm not saying that because you're up here. I'm saying that because it's true. I've never heard a bad word. And the quality of the products is just as good as the service. And for me, that's always been a big reason. And one of the reasons I wanted to, talk about Dirty Sportswear today.
Well, I appreciate that, Stephen, with your support and all the Fin fans across the country and the world, really. We're growing day by day, and it's really an awesome endeavor. And again, I appreciate all the support.
No problem, man. All right. This is the I'm about to say this is the Miami Sports Music Facebook, YouTube Live pregame show brought to you by Dirty Sports. This is an amazing little cast that we have here for you today. We got Matt up in Ohio. We got Cameron in South Florida. We got Jamie in Maryland. And we got me in Maryland. So we got fans from all over the world, or all over the country, helping to put this show on today. And we also have fans from all over the world watching. So if you in the comment section want to tell us exactly where you guys are watching from, we'd love to hear from you. Would love to be able to see. I see people are already putting down their predictions. Tommy has 24-7. OG Micro has 24-31 Miami. Tommy also says, as long as Tua's ball is in spinning, we're winning. All right. I like that. All right. Well, look, let's kind of go on to the next factor. So, one of the things that we have to talk about, it's week 17, right, is all these games that are being played at 1:00. And let's be perfectly honest and say that Miami doesn't have a great history of winning in Buffalo late in the season. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I'm just trying to be practical and also give us some talking points. So the reality is, out of all the teams that the Dolphins need to lose, Baltimore, Indy, and Cleveland, which one of those teams has the likelihood, the highest likelihood of losing today? And so, Matt, I want to start with you. Out of those three teams, who do you see losing? Who has the likelihood of losing today more than the other two? Well,
first of all, I would first like to say I don't think any of them are going to lose, but to stick to your talking point. I would not, even though the Steelers aren't starting Ben and they're sitting a couple guys. We saw what the Cleveland Browns are capable of doing last week in their loss to the Jets. So I would say a Mason Rudolph-led Steelers team probably has the best chance, in my opinion, to take down the Cleveland Browns. That's probably the best option I have. Cincinnati has been playing better of late, but I think Baltimore is just a little too strong for them. The Colts, I think, have the Jaguars, so I don't see that happening. So I'd say the Steelers probably have the best chance if we have to pick one.
Well, look, let me ask you, Cameron, who do you see of those three teams today? Cleveland, Indy, and Baltimore. Who are those three do you see losing the most today?
Well, I don't think it's going to matter because I think the Bills are going to lose to the Dolphins today, number one. So win and we're in. And then secondly, I agree with Matt. I think the Steelers and Mason Rudolph rather, have the best opportunity to win. And for this reason, Mason was embarrassed kind of last year in Cleveland. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder to go into Cleveland and really show up the Browns and for what happened last year on a national TV audience. And I also think, the Steelers haven't been playing too well, and they need to get some motivation into Juju and some of the other guys on their offense, especially the running game, Connor. And the Browns haven't been too good against the run the past few weeks. So I really think the Steelers have some motivation to play well, and not just Mason, but to get into the playoffs with a little momentum. So I'll take the Steelers.
Jamie, you're shaking your head. It sounds like in agreement with Cameron there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because I think I might have to send a application to Cameron to come cover sports with us at 305 Sports. His take was dead on.
That's on Cameron's belt. All the things that he does. Yeah. Add something else to
it. No, his take was absolutely dead on. Mason Rudolph starting for the Steelers actually makes the Steelers a little bit more dangerous this week. People don't see it that way, but it is. We all remember what happened in that last game. Not going to rehash it or bring it up. No need to, but we all know what happened there. Mason Rudolph wants to come in and play well against his team. He's actually going to go, he's going to be a little bit more reckless in a good way than Big Ben would have. That's part one. Second part is, as was just mentioned, Cleveland isn't good at stopping the run. Pittsburgh hasn't been good running the ball as of recently, but they know they have to run the ball to win in the playoffs. So they're going to try to tune up that running game, and they're going to try to tune it up to help Mason Rudolph out today. So look for them to make that a point of emphasis. And before you know it, we got a ball game that broke out. So Cleveland has to watch out. And the other thing we didn't bring up just recently is Cleveland's still struggling with COVID issues. So yes, they got their wide receivers back, but they lost some guys on defense this week. So, and the last thing I'll say, I hate to take a shot at another team that I don't cover, but it's the Browns. Right? Browns do Browns things.
The Browns will be the Browns. Exactly. This is the Miami Sports Music Facebook, YouTube Live pregame show. I'm surrounded by my Finlaws here. I got Matt Finn Evil up in Ohio. I got Jamie in Maryland, and I got Cameron in South Florida. Cameron, brother, what I want to do real quick is just talk to you about the guy that I'm about to put up on the screen that hasn't played in a while, that I think is going to be a big factor in today's game. And that's going to be the man that we're about to see here, Mr. Devante Parker. What do you think Devante is going to do in today's game today, and how do you see that playing a big factor with Tua Tagovailoa?
You know, to be honest with you, I think that Devante's impact on this game isn't going to be felt in the way of stats, touchdowns, or even yardage. I think you put him out there to run long post patterns and open up and sideline patterns to open up the middle for our tight ends, specifically Gesicki. But more importantly, I think Lynn Bowden and Gaskin coming out of the backfield on flares and wheel routes will have more of an impact on this game, and Parker spreading the field will help those two guys out.
Yeah, I totally agree. Matt, I'd love to get your take on that. What do you think today coming from Devante Parker and obviously being active for today's game in Buffalo?
Well, I think Cameron is spot on this. You know, when you put a Devante Parker type guy out there against any of their corners, it's just going to take that guy away from the middle of the field to where you have some of these other weapons that we tend to use. Also, you know, he does have the ability to go get a 50-50 ball. If you put a ball up, Parker's great at high pointing the ball, so he does become a safety net. But what Cameron said is perfect, because if you got Mac Hollins, and I'm not trying to disrespect Mac Hollins, but if you put Mac Hollins outside, there's just not that respect that Devante Parker wields. You know what I mean? So getting Parker back just adds that little bit of smoke screen, if anything, to the equation there.
Well, Matt, while I got you on the screen, this is a very good segue. Tell us a little bit about where your fan club up there, where you're at, and how it got started and how it came to be. One of the things that I love to do on the pregame show is bring in people. Last week we had Eric Carrier from the Southern New England fan club, and this week we have you. So I want to hear about your fan club and how it got started.
Well, the fan club's called Aqua's Going On, a Mid-Ohio Dolphin group, started by Daryl Stewart. It's up in Columbus. It's about an hour and 10 minutes away from me, so I don't make it up there as much as I'd like. In fact, I haven't made it up at all this year because I've been to Florida 3 times this year myself. But what they do is they have a watch party every Sunday, and you're talking, Columbus, Ohio. So you're right in the middle of Bengals-Browns territory. So having a nice watch party with 25, 30 Dolphins every single Sunday is a pretty big deal in Central Ohio. So Daryl has giveaways. He does raffles every week. They found a new sports bar this year called O'Neilla's that is full on. They want to be a Miami Dolphins bar. And they have, and they've given Daryl the go ahead to make it happen. So it's just, as we all know, there's Dolphins fan groups all over the country in weird places that you wouldn't think of, in Iowa and all these other places. But Columbus, Ohio doesn't seem like the greatest place for a Dolphin fan club, but it's good.
It doesn't seem like a great place to have an NFL team yet, It's got Cleveland and Cincinnati.
But you wouldn't believe the Dolphin support we have in Ohio. There are a ton of Dolphins fans in Ohio. You wouldn't think it, but there really is.
Yeah, totally. And, obviously you're also affiliated with the Positive Porpoise. And the Positive Porpoise has been doing some amazing things this past weekend. So tell us what was going on this past weekend, what you and Danny and all the team over at TPP were doing, and what you guys have going on for the future.
Oh my gosh. I lose track of how much money Danny's able to raise from day to day, because he is working tirelessly right now, raising money for the Dolphin Cancer Challenge, the DCC, putting
Over
up
$30,000 raised so far.
30 plus, just he's raised well over $1,000 just in the last couple days, just throwing up some items here and there, and the support that is behind TPP and the general membership and TPP people. Well, first of all, it's obviously they're supporting the cause. You donate some money, chance to win some signed memorabilia. But the cause is what people jump in for, because if anything from the Dolphin Cancer Challenge to OJ McDuffie's Catch 81 Foundation, the Dan Marino Foundation, the Children's Home Society of Florida. I mean, the autism house down in Chattanooga was one of the first ones they did. But it's I can't even keep up with everything Danny's up to, because the guy just tirelessly is at it all the time.
Well, we love TPP and we love you guys and we love what you're doing. It's an amazing and beautiful thing. And I'm so happy to have you on to the show today as part of the family. And, it's just a wonderful thing you guys are doing. What I want to do real quick is I have a question on the YouTube page from Anthony. Panel, do you expect the Bills to sit their starters today for the whole game? I assume what he really wants to say is, do you expect them to sit their starters at any time during the game? And Jamie, I'll cater to you first. Do you see that happening at all today?
Yeah, I do. I think there's a big possibility of the starters not finishing this game, and it could mean either good news or bad news for the Fins. This game gets out of hand with Buffalo running away with it. Say Buffalo gets ahead 2 scores coming into halftime. I think they're going to roll the dice and try to get some guys slowly back to the bench, right? Flip it the other way. Say Miami runs away with this. Miami gets ahead by 2 or 3 scores, or say Miami is, they say they can't block those guys up front. Say you have, Miami's linebackers and safeties blitzing and getting through and getting hits on Josh Allen all day. He does not finish that game, regardless of how that game is going. They need their guys. They know they're already in the playoffs. They're not going to sacrifice their future for today, but they do want to win. So it depends on those 2 things. Like I said, one would be really good for the Dolphins. One would be really bad for the Dolphins. But either way, one of those 2 scenarios play out, the Bills do not keep their starters in until to this entire game.
OG Micro says if they beat us in the first quarter, then they're going to sit it as if it was a close game. The Bills will play the entire game. Fins Forever 72 also said that Cole Beasley is not playing today, which is great for Eric Rowe. Let's talk about that real quick. And I'll come to Cameron for this. Cameron, we saw the game last Saturday where Waller, the tight end or wide receiver, whatever you want to call him, the beast of a man that he is for the Raiders, was pretty much owning Eric Rowe, right? And it wasn't that Eric Rowe was playing bad. He was playing good. He just couldn't compete with that, right? So Cole Beasley is out today. And we also noticed that X-Man did not go and play with Waller. So what do you think about, the man who probably is the best wide receiver in the NFL right now, arguably, Stephon Diggs? And then what do you think about that with Cole Beasley not playing? How do those 2 things play a factor in the defense for the Dolphins today?
So I think, number one, Cole Beasley not playing is a huge plus for the Dolphins defense, as they've struggled throughout the year with crossing patterns and those little, quick guys, third receiver types, moving across the middle, on quick slants. And Cole Beasley has a history of tearing up to the Dolphins. So I think it's good for us. I also don't expect Diggs to be on the field much more than 1 quarter. He's, arguably the hottest receiver in the NFL right now, if not the top 3, and definitely the Bills' number 1 threat, for Josh Allen. So I think at all costs they protect him. So I think it opens up Rowe. I also know that the Bills' starting tight end, Croft, I believe his name is not playing due to COVID issues. So, that's a plus for Rowe. And to go back to a question about how much the Bills starters, I keep this in mind. Josh Allen needs only 40 yards to be the all-time single-season passing leader in Bills history. And I think you see Josh Allen pulled immediately after he achieves that record.
Yeah, totally. I would totally agree with that. I was watching the pregame show today, and they were talking about Tennessee and the running back needing 223 yards to get to 2,000, right? And last year in Week 17, Mike Vrabel played him so that he could get the rushing record next year. Do you think that plays a factor with coaches? Do they care if a player gets a record or something like that?
If you want that player's respect, 100%. I also know there's a $250,000 bonus for Derrick Henry to get to 2,000 yards. So
Okay.
he's all about it.
And Steven, let me cut in on that. Let me cut in on that too. Not to cut away from Cam, because I like where you guys are going. But the other big thing there too that we haven't mentioned is Josh Allen is in the MVP conversation. Those 40 yards could be another step to getting another vote. Because who do you have up there? You have Rodgers. That's in that conversation. Josh Allen's a close number 2, right? If he gets to be able to, he's ready. Josh Allen's already has the touchdown lead, right? If he gets yardage also, they can make that case, and it's not too much that he has to throw for to get that. So it's big.
Yeah, look, you bring up a great point.
What Jamie said, another factor for the players for the Bills being benched is that whether they get the 2 seed or the 3 seed really doesn't make a big difference. It's either they're playing in Cleveland or they're playing, Indianapolis. And I think they'd much rather face Cleveland, to be honest with you, at the 3.
Matt, let me ask you about that. You being up in Ohio, and I'm sure that you have Browns fans that are around you. My first question is talking about competitive advantage. And last week they played the Jets, the Browns, and they did not have their wide receivers, right? And so now they're in a situation where they have to win. And if they lose, there's a good likelihood that they're going to be out of the playoffs. So, when you look at that, when you look at, Ryan Fitzpatrick today not playing because of COVID, what are the fans' response? Do they think of this as, hey, look, this is the 2020 season that we're in, and 2020 season counts the same, if not more, than any other season would? Or are people putting an asterisk next to this season?
No, I think what you just said is perfect. I mean, it's 2020. It's something we have to deal with. It's unfortunate. You never want to see a team have a competitive edge because of losing key players. But unfortunately, it's the atmosphere we're in right now. Cleveland was missing their top 4 receivers last week and had to bring up all practice guys. But here's the thing people don't talk about with Cleveland. You're playing the Jets, and you have one of the best running games in football, and they threw the ball almost 50 times with practice squad guys. So they could have controlled the game with the running game and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you never want to see it. I mean, when we heard Fitzpatrick was going to be out with COVID, obviously a lot of people were upset, losing their minds about it. But I had a little different take on it because Danny and I talked about it Tuesday on our Tuesday night Zoom. Was if Ryan Fitzpatrick's in the game for us right now, it's a bad thing, technically, Dolphins, because that means your starting quarterback Tua is struggling, and we don't want to see that. It's great to have that guy that can come in as a relief pitcher and give you a chance to come back and win, but you never want to see it. You don't want it to happen. So it's just one of them things you just got to deal with and take with a grain of salt. But real quick, I would like to go back to we were talking about Josh Allen and how long he'll play. Devil's advocate here. Let's say he stays in the game. Let's say they keep their starters in the game longer than normal. What we forget is we only lost to them by 3 points in week 2. Yep. And we had a fourth quarter lead. And the thing that people forget is Byron Jones was out most, if not all, of that game. And that thrust Noah Igbenogany into starting opposite Stephon Diggs. And we all know what happened there. Stephon Diggs torched him. So yep. Byron Jones being on the field with X, kind of neutralizes Stephon Diggs, even if Diggs does stay in the game. So people forget about that part.
JB, I want to bring you in real quick here. Why did we not see last week X-Man go over to be with Waller? And with that being said, that goes into what the Matt just brought up the point, X-Man Xing out Stephon Diggs and canceling out. Why would X today play against Stephon Diggs if he wasn't playing against the best receiver last week and Waller?
Yeah, so that's the challenge. So the Raiders was a tough matchup. People don't realize that coming against our defense, because the Raiders have been on a downward spiral. And Waller, nickname, I talked about him last week in the pregame show saying, watch out for that guy. That's going to be the problem, right? The reason why you didn't have the switchover is because Las Vegas has a lot of other threats with speed. And you saw one of them. You saw it happen, right? If you took either Byron Jones or X and moved them over to Waller, Aguilar would have feasted on the Dolphins, because you saw the one big play coming down to the end of the game, how easy that was for him on a broken coverage. All it was is he got one step on Jones and the safety couldn't help him, and it was, straight to the house. So you got to keep one of your top guys on there. And you got to remember they have a lot of speed on the other side with the rookie, right? And so you got to remember that we have a guy on our team, Lynn Bowden, right? Got traded to us because the Raiders said, well, we don't have a good use for him. We don't know between the running back and wide receiver thing. And they knew they were flush at wide receivers. Very dangerous team week with the wideouts. Now looking at today, right? These guys on today's panel, man, I love when we get a nice good panel of where these guys take away all my notes, right? If you look at the target,
that's why I got back to them, because they knew what the hell they were talking about. They know
what they're talking about, and I'm going to highlight why they know what they're talking about. Last time we played the Bills, we had Stephon Diggs with 13 targets. He went with over 153 yards against us. You had John Brown, 6 targets. Cole Beasley, 6 targets. All went with 82 and 70 yards respectively, right? And again, we brought up that Noah Igbenogany was trying to do his best to try to cover Diggs, and we didn't make a switch. Well, you couldn't make a switch. John Brown has been a Dolphins killer since he's been with the Bills, right? So we actually looked at him as the most important player to try to shut down based on the tape. So you had to put your best guy on him, and it worked. X pretty much had him under control until you had Noah come on the field, and that kind of threw things off. Byron Jones is going to be the key to today's game. That doesn't mean he's going to go out there and get 2 or 3 interceptions. If he does, great, but that's not what he does, right? What you're going to look for Byron Jones today is if you don't hear his name, right? Because if you're not hearing his name, that means you're not either hearing Stephon Diggs' name or you're not hearing John Brown's name, right? That's the key to today's game. He's going to take down and shut down his area. And the other thing, what I like about it, people always say, well, how come people keep throwing to X? If he's catching a pick, every other game or pretty much every game, and why do you keep going to his side? Well, it's great what the Dolphins do, right? We knew what we were getting in Jones. Jones is a true shutdown corner. He does not let his guy breathe. Even when you look at the play with Oakland where they gave the penalty, which wasn't a penalty, he had his guy blanketed. So the quarterback usually, it wasn't pass interference. And he had a perfect blanket on that guy like he always does. He's really good at that, right? So what happens is the quarterback goes through his progressions. He looks over to Jones's side and says, hey, that guy's covered. And X is so smart. X plays the passing lane. Sometimes he'll play coverage, but he knows that, hey, that guy's locked up. They're going to think he has a step on me. And they take their chance every now and then. And that's where X gets the picks, right? And that's how this defense plays so beautifully together. And you're going to see that today. That's the big difference. We lost by 3. Like we said, they had over 500 something yards of total offense against the Dolphins the last time. They averaged almost 9 yards a clip. With Jones and X out there, that's not going to be the case. Look for that average to come way down. Look for the total yardage to come way down. And look for Jones to do his thing to help that defense come together.
This is the Miami Sports Music live pregame show on YouTube and Facebook. We're going to bring you right up till kickoff, which is about 10 minutes away. I am your host, Stephen D., and I'm very excited to get you pumped up for the game today. Let's, start kind of winding this thing down. And let's talk about the keys to the game and what your predictions are for the game today. So before I do that, actually, I want to switch gears real quick before we do that. First thing I want to do is bring in Cameron. Cameron, East 32, okay? It's been a crazy year of 2020. People have not gotten that tailgate experience the way that they should. I wouldn't be doing any service if I didn't address that with you. Tell me about this year, how different it's been, and what you guys plan on doing moving forward for 2021 season.
Well, number one, I got reacquainted with my family on the weekends, game day weekend. It's been great for them. But seriously, just like everyone else, taking the pandemic restrictions here in South Florida in stride, and keeping connected with the fans in different ways, through social media, through your great show. We've been doing like a kind of a pop-up tailgate down at the Pembroke Pines Hooters on game day mornings, getting connected with some of the favorites that attend every week. But we're just keep in mind that we're not out of the pandemic, and there's been no, restrictions lifted as far as next season or even a thought of, what's going to happen. So we'll wait and see. We're in wait and see mode. And I also do know that the Dolphins are planning on taking out more parking next season. So we'll see what shakes up. But you will see East 32 Dolphins tailgate somehow if we're permitted.
Look, it's been a crazy year, and one of the reasons I tell people to go, one of the reasons I love the Miami Dolphins, besides loving the team, right, is over the last several years is I've gotten to experience tailgates like East 32 and get to know the fans and get to know people like you, Cameron, and you, Matt. Matt, we would never know each other if it wasn't for the Dolphins living so far away. And the same thing for Cameron and Jamie. This brings us together. This team brings us together, and it's a beautiful thing. And my favorite part about it is the Dolphins. You don't. It doesn't. When you bleed aqua and orange, it doesn't matter your political affiliation, your race. It does not matter any of those things, because the love that we have for each other. That's why we call each other Finlaws, as Mark Angelo so eloquently puts it. And I just want to say, number one, thanks all three of you for coming on to the show today. But number two, that's the best part about being a Dolphins fan, is being able to, talk with guys like you and have a relationship outside of the team. I know Cameron and I have talked about personal stuff, and we've gotten into some real good conversations. And, Matt, we've gotten to grow over the last several weeks with TPP and this show. Me doing this show and our relationship starting to grow. And Jamie, you're part of the squad now. You're part of Miami Sports Music. and I just want to say thank you to all three of you guys.
Well, we owe you a debt of gratitude. I think all Finlaws and Fin fans do, putting this together. And, to your point, there's a lot of love for the team, but for just the camaraderie and friendship that grows from not only the tailgates, but the podcast and all social media that really makes all of this special.
I appreciate that. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's get to the first part or the last part of this thing, and that's the prediction. We got about 5 minutes left. All right, so I'm going to go to Matt first. So, Matt, what I really want from you are, one or two key factors for today's game, and what your score prediction is and how you see this going.
Well, it comes down to the defense. We've always had a bend but don't break defense. So we've given up yards in the past, but we have the number one scoring defense in football, and I see no reason why that'll change today. Tua has just got to go out and do Tua things. He doesn't have to do what he did in Alabama, throwing the big deep balls. He's just got to protect the football, throw some guys open, which we learned about last week with Fitzpatrick late in the game. And Myles Gaskin in that running game, keep doing what they're doing. If all that goes well, I see no reason why we can't punch our ticket to the playoffs. I'm saying 23-17, close game, low-scoring game, 23-17.
All right, 23-17 from Matt, and the defense is going to be the X factor. Cameron, let me bring you in, brother. What do you think one or two keys of today's game are, and what is your score prediction?
On defense, much as Matt said, it'll be, the takeaways that will prove the point, I think, for the Dolphins. I think our linebacking core, Baker, Van Noy, and Van Ginkel on the edges, applying pressure and containing their run game, which I think Buffalo is going to try to establish a run game today. And on offense, just like Matt said, take care of the ball. Tua being smart with the ball, which he's done all year. And getting guys in the flat and open for those opportunities that are going to arise. I say 17-13 with a fourth quarter Gesicki touchdown to win the game.
I like it. I like it a lot. and the newest member of Miami Sports Music, our media director, and also 305sports.net. Next time you come on, you're going to have Miami Sports Music up there too. Tell us, man, what's your score prediction for today, and what are one or two key factors of today's game?
Yeah, I like what these guys said about low scoring. I'm going to give a low score traditionally for these two teams, but a little bit higher than what they said. So I'm going Dolphins winning this game. It's going to be 27-20. That's below, that's well below Buffalo's average, who's been putting up about 30 points, put up 30 points against the Dolphins the last time. But the key to this game, as they said, the defense, but also is going to be timing on that defense, right? Fast start, how the two teams start. So the Dolphins are going to have to look to try to start fast. Everybody's been talking about the weather and how cold it is. That weather can break you. So you don't want to be in a game where, Buffalo comes out, hits you in the mouth, and you're down 21 zip or down 17 zip, and then you're dealing with the frigid cold and they start running the ball, right? So it's going to be to try to keep Buffalo from getting a fast start, and also try to get a fast start yourself. Get those guys to start thinking about walking off the field and going home and getting ready for their playoff game. So that's how I see this game playing out. So Dolphins win 27-20.
All right. And as always, I do this all my shows is I have my two kids here with me, and this is their time to shine. So Savannah, what's the score for today's game?
I think 100-1.
100-1.
Wow.
Score
Wow.
Who's going to get the 100?
She means 45-1.
45-1. Is that your score prediction?
No, my score prediction is 32-17.
And the Dolphins are going to win?
The Dolphins are going to get the chip.
And who's the greatest football team?
Dolphins.
All right, say bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. All right, and then I'll go real quick to my score prediction. I think my score prediction, I think the thing that you're going to see today is it's all going to come down to Tua. And Tua, and what I mean by that is Tua's going to have to take some chances. He's going to have to throw the ball 10-plus yards downfield more than a few times in order to get a win today. I really believe that. So Tua's going to have to do something he's not really comfortable with. And that's okay. And I want everybody to know I believe in Tua. Tua is the future of this franchise no matter what happens today. This is a hard game. Going into Buffalo, Week 17, look, let's the kid is a rookie who had no preseason, came in, stepped in Fitzpatrick's shoes, and he's done a lot. But we all noticed what happened the last time Fitzpatrick came in, right? Tua went on to win AFC Player of the Week 2 weeks in a row. Or Rookie of the Week 2 weeks in a row. So
you're right.
If that's a precursor, that's a good precursor that I'm hoping for. Look, guys, Cameron, Jamie, Matt, do you guys want to wrap up with anything? I'll let Cameron go first, Jamie second, Matt third. Is there anything you want to finish off with?
No, I just want to say appreciate it, Steve, for having me on. Fins up and Happy New Year, everybody.
Same to you, brother.
Just Happy New Year from Miami Sports Music and 305sports.net. Looking forward to this year and happy to be a part of the family.
Awesome. Matt?
Thanks for having me on. You know me. Anytime I get a chance to talk Dolphins football to anybody willing to listen, I'm all over it. Happy New Year, everyone. Solo, get well, brother. And fins up.
Yeah, look, the Solo D has been watching. He's been texting me. He is, pretty much in a cocoon. But look, brother, we love you. Miami Sports Music would not be what it is today without you, Solo. So get better. If you guys know Solo, hit him up. Just tell him that you're thinking about him. Put him in your prayers. He's going to be okay. He just, he took the COVID test yesterday, I believe. So we're just waiting for the results to come back. But I'm pretty sure he has it because in about the decade I've known Solo, this is literally the second time I've ever known him to be sick. So he's all right. He's going to be fine. He's going to push out that playoff song next week because we're going to make the playoffs, baby. At around 4:15, 4:30 today, the Dolphins are going to be playoff bound. So I'm excited to see that. And Matt, Cameron, Jamie, I love you guys. Fins up and let's go.
Fins up.
All right.